What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 4. We have another best of two between AlbumSheet and Denial Esports. Here on HeflaTV 2, we're going to be bringing you all the games. I'm Mike Loris, and I am joined by Grandis V. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing wonderful. It's fairly early on. It's raining very heavily outside, but perfect morning to start with some Dota. So we're gonna get into this draft. The first bans have already come out from both sides. AlbumSheet taking out the Void and Centaur, and Viper and Death Prophet taking out Denial Esports, and they'll first pick up the Scarth Mage. Currently nothing too crazy, and with the Ogre Magi and Razor from AlbumSheet also not veering from the meta path.
And that leaves up to the Brewmaster. I think I've seen teams open up with this. I probably just saw them yesterday, something like that. It's pretty common to see all of these heroes, especially all put together like this. I feel like both teams with this opening are fairly strong, but I think I want to say Denial's got the slightly upper hand in this kind of first pick trade. What do you think? It's minor at any rate.
Yeah, I think it's a slight win for Denial, but not very heavily. Still, we don't really have anything that benefits too hugely from Ogre Magi's Bloodlust. Razor likes it, but there's some other heroes that would benefit higher from it. Scarth Mage and Brewmaster together, you don't have to worry about that silence going into the Brewmaster. Still, I think both teams are going to be happy with the two heroes that they got. The next couple of picks are really where this draft is going to veer towards either direction.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Jakiro is already being banned out by AlbumSheet. They are going to make sure that Denial aren't going to take any sort of path towards a pushing lineup, whereas Denial, well, getting rid of just combos with Ogre Magi, Fire Blast, Arrow, or Ancient Apparition, Chilling Touch, or Cold Feet after Fire Blast. These are all dangerous things with Ogre, and Denial, maybe they're going to want to play this a little bit more defensively and try to keep the Ogre Magi off their back. We do see the Vengeful Spirit banned out finally by AlbumSheet, and then Tidehunter is going to be the pickup, so it looks like AlbumSheet, they might be playing this aggressively after all, though you can't always take this late with Tide.
Yeah, definitely. Still, neither team really showing their hand with these picks. The Tidehunter, presumably going towards the off lane, might have a difficult time. Scarth Mage plus two other heroes definitely can zone a Tidehunter fairly effectively, but he always has the backup plan of going into the Ancients, and Denial Esports are going to go ahead and pick themselves up a Beastmaster.
I think it's a very powerful hero right now, and more teams should honestly be playing this guy, but picking up this early when you ordinarily never see him at all in a draft is a little bit questionable. There are strategies that you can revolve around that roar. It has a cooldown that is fairly manageable with, actually it's 80 seconds at level 1. I thought it was a little bit less, but the cooldown is manageable, and if you keep on ganking every single time you have that ultimate up, then you can pretty reliably get kills every single time you roar someone if you have enough follow-up. Skywrath Mage is great follow-up. They need a little bit more. Maybe Denial are going to look to peek in the mid game, and we'll just try to use the Brewmaster ultimate and the Beastmaster roar in order to set up every single fight and take every single fight before the game gets super late. Or they could just be protecting a hyper carry later on. That's also a possibility with Beastmaster.
Yeah, right now it's still yet to be seen. It's going to be Witch Doctor for AlbumSheet. They already have a decent ultimate to set up for that Death Ward in the Ravage coming out from the Tidehunter, and a lot of physical and magical damage both coming out from AlbumSheet. A good mix of the two. I like this Witch Doctor pick. It'll work nicely with the Ogre. Although not the best roaming duo, definitely can make things happen around the map. As far as Denial with this Beastmaster, the times that I have seen the Beastmaster from Denial, I think they like running it as a support and they jungle it for effing mad. So maybe they have a couple more picks left. They're going to snag themselves up a Venomancer. Still unsure how they're going to lane this. It might be a Corveno.
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, usually when you pick up Venomancer at all, it's going to be a Corveno, and together with the Beastmaster, their pushing is, well, not exactly the most direct way of pushing. They have Plague Wards, they have additional attack speed. It's mostly we get a decisive small skirmish outside of your tower and then use our chip damage and our slightly increased pushing potential in order to take objectives. So this Venomancer is going to be at Denial, should be playing pretty aggressively. I don't expect to see at this point Spectre or Medusa coming out as their last. They would probably just want to go for another hero that is going to be played pretty aggressively. It's most likely going to be a support unless, of course, they are going to run that Beastmaster jungle, in which case offlane hero, Centaur already banned out. I mean, the pool is always there, but the pool of top tier offlaners is kind of thin right now.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, Denial could go in either direction. I think they'd be fine. As for AlbumSheet, they're looking probably towards the safe lane carry, unless they want to bump that Razor towards the safe lane, pick up something for the mid. But I think leaving the Razor mid versus the Brewmaster is probably AlbumSheet's best bet. What they go for as their safe lane carry is still yet to be seen. The amount of lockdown coming out from Denial is limited mostly to the ultimate coming out from the Brewmaster and the Beastmaster. The Scarlet Mage Silence is nice, but they could probably get away with something along the lines of an Ember Spirit or Weaver even.
Yeah, I think either of those two heroes, honestly, for either side, wouldn't be too bad, but definitely for AlbumSheet, making use of the lack of lockdown of Denial could get away with that a lot more. We are going to see two very similar heroes, Luna Gyrocopter, being banned out. So it seems like both teams have a read on the other that says, well, the other team wants to be aggressive, so let's not let them be aggressive. And, well, it's always best when you have two aggressive teams going at each other, because that usually guarantees high action. But for AlbumSheet, I mean, they have the Witch Doctor, Ogre Magi. These two supports are pretty self-sufficient. They don't really need any high damaging hero to really complement this. They could pretty much take any hero that they want and it'll work pretty well. I mean, AlbumSheet, all their heroes are fairly self-sufficient.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think they could get away with a greedier pick, but instead it's going to be a Slark, so they're going to be hammering down the aggression with this pick. Also a hero that does benefit when you are dealing with a lack of lockdown. Outside of the Beastmaster Roar, the Scarlet Mage Silence is really the only thing they have to keep this Slark in place, and he could get out of control. And Denial Esports, they're going to go more heavily into the pushing power with the Lycan as their last pick, so it does look like it is going to be a Jungle Beastmaster.
Yeah, Beastmaster most likely going to take out offlane. It is a Radiant Beastmaster, which in general tend to be a little bit weaker than Dire Beastmasters just because of the ancient setup and how the map flows. But the Lycan pick as the last one, it's certainly a hero that is, seen occasionally, especially if you're EG or something like that, but it's still a powerful hero at what he does. And what he does very well is push things. And when you're working with additional attack speed with Inner Beast, when you're working with additional push from the Plague Wards, the pushing is going to be pretty intense. And AlbumSheet, well, they have a little bit of counter push, but nothing too impressive. They're going to need this Blink Dagger to come up on Tide pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Huh. I wonder what's going on. Looks like we're complaining about how the Dire got second pick. Huh. Well, I suppose we'll just introduce our players and hopefully we go in with no further ado. On the Radiant side, it's going to be Nile Esports, with the supports being handled by CryoJ on the Skarath Mage, Funzy playing the Venomancer, Paris on the Beastmaster, Jural playing on the Lycan, and effing Mad on the Brewmaster.
I don't know if these guys are just like messing with each other or what, or they're just actually angry. Well, anyway, we got Chomi playing the Tidehunter on the other, and No Fear is going to be on the Ogre Magi with Aloha Dance on the Slark, Sunlight on the Witch Doctor, and that leaves Afterlife on the Razor. It seems like I have no idea what's going on right now. I mean, maybe the admin messed up the pick order or the teams or something, but I don't know.
I think this is just playful banter.
Well, I mean, everyone's in the game. Ogre Magi paused and then is just talking. Did he actually give a reason?
No, he wanted to, I don't know, talk smack.
That's always a pretty good reason to pause, I think. Like, we should just
Of
have
course.
designated smack talk time at the beginning of the game.
I mean, it's better than Skype problems, I suppose.
Why not both? Why
Why
not
not
both?
both? What is that emote? That's atrocious.
Is that one of the newer ones? I remember seeing a Reddit thread that says, like, these emotes for some... I don't remember which one, but it was like, these emotes are terrible. And that looks like a terrible emote. It's like
Yeah,
they didn't cut out the horse properly out of the white page or thing, whatever.
and the animation is, it's something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely something.
Uh, huh. Yeah, I honestly have no idea what to expect out of this.
Well, this is, I'm told that Xiaomi has problems with Mike, at least that's what Sunlight says. Want to believe him, and hopefully we get all that settled. Uh, it doesn't seem like the teams are too pissed about the first pick or anything like that, so hopefully that's not an issue. I mean, both teams have pretty good lineups, I would say. Denial have a pretty direct pushing lineup, and AlbumSheet, they have a good mix of mid-game fighting, so, I mean, it's not like they completely tanked their drafts because of some error.
Apparently the series is over.
GG, guys. Thanks for coming
GG.
out.
Yep, that's it.
Well,
Yeah. I wish we had a game number 1 to talk about or something. We just don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you start the day like this. It's obviously unavoidable, but I guess this is also the price we pay for starting on time.
I mean, technically we started like 2 minutes late,
I mean,
but
that's on time for JDL.
that's impressive for JDL. On time is like 15 minutes late.
Yeah, 30 minutes plus is considered late, or 30 minutes later than start time is considered late. Anything else is considered decently on time.
Hopefully I muted my mic for that.
I didn't hear
Oh,
anything, so we're probably good.
good. Good. Yeah,
Fucking
I'm
bad.
I'm just
I'm
coughing up a lung.
4K. I'm 4,700 MMR, but I first say 5K. I think it's fair. That's exactly my thinking. It's like, hey,
uh,
if you get asked your MMR, then it should be your peak MMR, not your current MMR.
I don't know. Just say your lowest.
Lowest.
M2K.
That'll be like when
Yep.
everyone got. No, maybe not. I was gonna say that would be like when everyone got calibrated, but that's probably not the case.
No, it's not. There's losing streaks involved. Really depressing Dota days. Hey, we have a game,
All
and we
right,
can actually
let's get it
play.
on.
Nice.
Do we though? Do we? It's not too late to pause, guys, if you want to mess up your microphones or something else. But looks. Oh, there we go. I had a feeling. I just had that feeling.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be sitting here for a little bit longer. Sorry about this. Defense of the Ancients. Oh dear. Show me. Please get your
Oh,
stuff together.
show me. What have you done? Show me. Oh yeah, this is going to be an interesting game for sure. We had a couple of swaps of players. I think I saw Denial switch something. It doesn't seem like it'll matter too much, and it seems like their item loadouts are completely vanilla. So, with the exception of Venomancer with a shared tango, I don't know why he has that, but that's fine. He could share some tangos because sharing is caring.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, it looks like Paris is just heading towards the off lane, Drawl to the mid. Although Brewmaster is loading out with a lot of regen for a mid start, so maybe it's going to be a jungle Lycan mid Venomancer and safe lane Brewmaster?
Oh man, that's an extremely aggressive way of doing it. I mean, the Lycan does have a jungling kind of build with Quelling Blade and Stout Shield. You normally don't pick those two up just because Lycan has quite a bit of base damage. You don't need the Quelling Blade generally. Stout Shield is always good, and well, with Funzy holding that tango, it might just be that the Brewmaster is going to be taking a solo lane, and they're going to be playing this super greedily. If this actually works, then Denial are going to get so far ahead just because they aren't. I mean, their weakest part is going to be their laning. If they get away with their laning, then, well, man, that push is going to be so dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. Wait, let's see. Okay. Well, yeah, I'd like to see how these lanes actually work out, and I'd like to see this game actually start. Right now, we might as well be sitting in the lobby. It would be nice if everybody just got all of their technical stuffs done before the game so that we could actually start. But, yeah,
That's like
hopefully,
magical Christmas time in Dota, though. Like
yeah,
that won't
it is.
happen.
It doesn't happen very often. It's very, very rare that we actually get to see that.
Slark TB, Slark TB. I don't know if he's like reading the enemy's patterns or something with their picks. Seems like he is. By the way, this courier of the Dire, how adorable is that courier?
Yeah. Dusky the Husky.
He looks kind of differently textured than everything else. I don't know if it's just because of the pause, but I don't know. It looks like his textures are just like just completely different.
Yeah, they do feel a little bit out of place, but it's adorable, so you have to excuse it, I suppose. Let's see.
Mike, stop it. Say this game is without pause. Yeah, this is actually going to be the last pause. It's confirmed that this is literally going to be the last pause we ever see.
Yep, I sure hope so, but unfortunately, 2 minutes in the past were still paused, so have fun sitting around and waiting for the game.
Oh, I'm certainly enjoying myself looking at these couriers.
They're not
Although
even very interesting.
I
Like,
wish we
these are
could
pretty
just,
vanilla.
I could wish we could just like see what all the people have as their couriers. Just like do
Yeah,
that switch thing or whatever it's called, courier swap.
absolutely.
Also, what's the deal with Lycan? Plus 521. Do you see that? Or 125. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize the numbers flowed like that. That's weird.
Okay, so what does that mean? Why do you just sell?
125. I don't know. It costs 125, guys.
He sold and rebought a stout shield, I think. I,
No.
I think
Because,
that's the only thing that would be. Oh wait, no, I'm crazy. It's Tango's.
oh yeah, tangos do cost that much.
I was
That's
dividing it in half for some reason.
yeah. I was looking at 521. I'm like, nothing costs 521. That's why I didn't think of tangos. Of course, that's my
Yeah,
excuse at least. That's what I'll tell people.
of course. So whether Lycan starts with regen or not is still yet to be seen. Seems that effing Matt hasn't decided yet.
You kind of have
Maybe,
to.
yeah, you do. It's not really much of an option.
Like even if the enemies aren't going to be touching you, even if you do go for jungle, like in jungle isn't strong enough to go without regen. He's not Nature's Prophet. He's not Enigma. His wolves can't tank really at all. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, well, it seems that all of these players are pretty friendly with each other. That's good, I suppose. But there's so much going in the alt chat that I can't actually figure anything out.
They're talking about someone with Void or something. I don't know. Look at Scarith Mage's neck. That's like not how necks are supposed to bend.
Probably not.
I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't look good. Maybe it's like
Well,
bird spines work differently.
I'm pretty sure birds don't walk around like that. If
Yeah.
you did that to a bird, I think it would die. Hey, we have a game. Maybe.
Yes, that was actually the last pause. There are literally going to be no more pauses in this set, guys. So we'll see how these lanes load out. And well, it looks like Brewmaster is going to be heading down towards bottom, and Funzy, well, he has a Wraith Band now, 2 shared Tangos. It is going to be what looks like a core Venomancer. He's going bottom for now, but I don't expect that to stay that way.
Yeah, I suppose he's going to be going towards mid. It does look like Matt is going to be in the jungle on that Lycanthrope, which is very peculiar. I think even if they're going to lane this greedily, they probably could have juggled their heroes around in a little bit of a different fashion. Brewmaster, or Beastmaster, excuse me, is probably not going to have a very good time at all up in this top lane. It is going to be reserved to stacking up those Ancients. On the Radiant side, after the changes to the trees, it's a little bit easier to get those stacks going, but Dire is still preferred.
Yeah, I think Beastmaster in general is just kind of a weak laner unless you put him in mid. The matchups against the likes of Razor or Tidehunter, or hell, even if Slark goes up here solo, that's not really the best for Beastmaster. He could duel the Slark for a little bit, make use of his armor advantage. Beastmaster is incredibly tanky, but Slark also has a ton of regenerations, 2 tangos and a salve, so any damage the Beastmaster puts on the Slark isn't really going to stick. We might see a squabble over on the bottom lane where they're going to open up with Ignite onto Creo. The static link is there as well as the cast. He's going to get stunned only once. Afterlife needs to hit this guy a little bit more. I don't think they have what it takes. Scarith Mage with 325 moon speed once again is going to save his life.
Yeah, and Scarlet Mage is going to be forced all the way back to base, unfortunately enough for him, but it is going to save them from that first blood. Maybe it's a really good read coming out from these lanes of Denial. It is going to be the Beastmaster up top versus the Slark solo. Although Slark is going to be favored in that lane, Beastmaster should be able to get a decent amount in. As far as heroes that can function with just experience, Brewmaster's a pretty good one. Although he's not going to be able to get much farm out of this lane, I don't expect him to be dying, and for now, they're leaving effing Matt in the jungle, which is exactly where he wants to be.
And hopefully for him, he doesn't get messed with a lot by AlbumSheet. But we already see Sunlight roaming around, and really the Lycan jungle, though it is possible, it's not really the strongest. Now his camps are being blocked. Now his wolves are giving over gold to the Lycan, or to the Witch Doctor rather. So fucking Mad is not having the best of times here, although he will get this last wolf kill. This does mean that AlbumSheet know exactly what Lycan is doing, and they will be playing in such a way to stop it, or at least slow it down. And really, Lycan, you don't have the luxury of messing with enemies and jungling at the same time. You're not Enigma. You don't have Eidolons to back you up, and well, he will have a Skywrath Mage to back him up. They're going to throw an Arcane Bolt in Sunlight. He does have a Cask, though, which is going to bounce a couple times, mostly absorbed by the Wolves, though. No fear. In the meantime, he's going to beat down a Creo, but it's going to be Geralt to come out from the side, and that'll be the death of the Witch Doctor. No fear, has got to get himself out of there. Maybe AlbumSheet playing this one a little bit too aggressively. They probably should have realized that Brewmaster has left the lane, though. I feel like that might have just been an error by Afterlife.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's going to be Denial securing the first blood. Still, their Lycanthrope's jungle was disrupted a little bit by this, but still, Effing Mad's getting enough out of this jungle stage in order to warrant it, especially since they get the first blood in bottom, which is going to make their life a lot easier. Draw also getting that extra gold is going to secure him a fairly early set of boots. Our mid lane matchup, we haven't talked about it pretty much at all. It's going to be Venomancer versus Tidehunter solo, and in this matchup, Venomancer should have a pretty good time, as Tidehunter doesn't really have a way to clear out the Plague Wards, and as a general rule of thumb, Venomancer is really good up against melee heroes, and doesn't even have those wards just yet, investing more heavily into the Poison Sting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a range versus melee matchup, and I think that in and of itself is all you need to know. Paris on top lane is going to get pounced, and it's going to be a kill for Aloha Dance. He's burned through one stack of Tangos and the Salve, whereas Beastmaster's burned through literally everything. Slark is going to be handling this lane very simply and no fear. In the meantime, he's going to be messing with Joral in the bottom lane. Sunlight has a Cask to throw, but he's going to decide against it. Afterlife in the area, but it can't really contribute that much. That's actually going to be Chomi with the Haste Rune chasing after this Venomancer. Funzy taking quite a beating right now. Needs to turn around for a Gale, which will land onto the two supports incoming. So that might be enough to buy Funzy his life, although it'll take some pretty good bottling. He's going to get restored up a little bit, but Gush and just consistent right clicks from the Tide is going to give the Razor the kill in the end. AlbumSheet, well, they get a kill on the Venomancer, and it was kind of needed. The Tidehunter was not having the best of times, but I guess if you get a Haste Rune, you're going to be pretty happy against a Veno.
Definitely not much that the Venomancer can do in that situation. He did pretty much everything he could. Wasted a little bit of the time of AlbumSheet, but still, it's going to be a kill score, 1-2, after getting the kill on the Beastmaster as well as on the Veno. Brewmaster is still getting a decent amount, especially with the supports rumbling in the jungle, and still is sitting onto a decent amount of his consumables, CSing decently, but more importantly, getting a lot of experience out of this lane. And their Lycanthrope, currently at the top of the CS chart, has a bottle on a jungle Lycanthrope. Very interesting.
Well, I mean, you do have the double runes, so your mid lane, Funzy, he is pretty much guaranteed a rune somewhere, so he doesn't actually need to be bottle crowing. And, well, fucking Mad, handles the bottom runes and or just straight up bottle crows, then the bottle is going to give him probably the most effective HP. It is quite an expensive item. Like, you would not ideally want to buy an item that you don't have to get when you are just going to be gunning for Vlads, but this is actually going to help him farm faster. Infinite mana, infinite health, or more or less infinite, is going to mean that he is going to be able to clear the jungle pretty safely. And as long as AlbumSheet are not pressuring him, and since they've rotated Sunlight out, they aren't going to, this is actually going to be a pretty safe move by fucking Mad.
Yeah, definitely. His jungle farming pattern is a little bit disrupted by having that medium camp block, but he is still able to maintain his farm, and this laning stage, despite being down in kills and not winning in gold, Denial are getting away with a very greedy lineup, and are zeroed out in the net worth as well as the experience at this point. Chomi is going to get galed in mid with the Poison Sting harass. I don't think Chomi is going to die, but he is going to be put fairly low. Will be forced to bottle up. It's the Ogre and the Lycan in bottom that are going to be trading their lives as the Razor's now right-clicking into Cryo-J. With a lot of damage stolen, he's going to be able to secure the double kill. Phase Boots movement speed, able to chase down that Skywrath Mage. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of AlbumSheet.
Right now, like, the most powerful item you could get on any team is going to be Phase Boots, and Razor's certainly showing off why. The additional damage is fantastic, but it's really the movement speed difference that is what makes the item great. Up against a Lycan, you steal all his damage, get like 3 or 4 ticks of that static link to work, and then suddenly you're golden. You can't really fight if you're Lycan, and at a certain point, you just have to turn around and hope for the best. So Razor's manhandling this lane. It's 100% to be expected with the way AlbumSheet are laning this, so I mean, this isn't going to be a surprise, but this is something that Denial really have to deal with. Their best bet, I think, is just try to get a little bit more farm, try to get a couple more levels, and then push the crap out of the Razor and try to restrict his space through pushing.
Yep. And what they need before they have that is level 6 on the Brew and Beastmaster. Still waiting on both of those crucial skills to have that power to take those engagements. Drell is getting close, but not close enough. The Slark for Album Sheet hasn't left this lane. Currently, Power Treads and Orb of Venom. He could make some rotations happen, but meantime, inside the jungle, Ravage committed. Solo onto the Skywrath Mage. Anchor Smash is going to be saved here for a second, but the damage should be enough with Ignite. One more auto attack from Chomi, and it's going to be 2-5. Album Sheet coming ahead and just a solo pickoff.
Yeah, Tidehunter, Roam, 1 point Gush is really all you need to set up some kills, because Anchor Smash does a ridiculous amount of damage. If you use a Ravage, you're 100% going to get that target. Getting a kill on a Skywrath Mage, not exactly the best usage of Ravage, but honestly I don't think he was going to get any better. So Tidehunter going to get a little bit more gold for himself, a little bit closer to the Blink, or maybe he's going to go for Arcanes. I feel like if you are going for a mid lane Tide, and if you're going to get a little bit more farm, going for Arcanes and then Blink isn't too terrible.
Yeah, and it looks like that is going to be his choice. He does commit to those arcane boots, and Chomi should be able to have his Blink Dagger at decent timing anyway. And even without the Blink, getting off those Ravages isn't incredibly hard either. Every time he leaves this lane, a little bit of chip damage is being committed, but they are going to drop, excuse me, the clap, as well as the ultimate from the Beastmaster into the Ogre Magi, and find that solo support.
Yeah, Paris unfortunately blocked himself a little bit with his boar, but it's fine. It didn't cost him a kill, so we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. First roar from the Beastmaster used, and I mean, it's such an effective ganking tool. He smoked behind them in the side shop area, just wrapped around, and then got the roar off. So pretty easily done by Paris, and now I think he's probably not going to touch the top lane. Aloha Dance is going to have a complete free time, or at least more free than it already has been. And the only restriction now for Denial is the Roar cooldown. 40 seconds left until that's back up. It's completely manageable for an ultimate. And with an Urn, he will be able to sustain, whoever he's going to be joining in those lanes.
Yeah, definitely. Still half a minute till they have that available. They're going to look for the 8-minute rune. It's geared by effing Mad. The Link is going to be thrown away with Lycan, but doesn't steal a single pulse of damage away from him, as Afterlife isn't going to pursue that, and Lycan's going to go back into farming. This isn't very fast Lycan farm, but it's still serviceable. Have the Vladimir's offering it a decent timing.
And really just that item and levels are all you want in the Lycan, so it does get easier as time progresses, the Lycan jungle, so as long as he is getting something in the jungle and Album Sheet are not pressuring, which so far they have completely stopped pressuring, then he's going to be fine. The Beastmaster also has another Roar up, and there are a couple of Observer wards pretty deep in by the Dire, so they should know about where the Beastmaster is. Well, now they know exactly where the Beastmaster is, but Paris is going to be pretty much a one-man wrecking crew. Wherever he goes, there is most likely going to be a death that follows, so Album Sheet, they have to rely on their wards, and they have to hopefully keep everyone safe from this Beastmaster, because if Beastmaster gets 1 or 2 more kills or assists or something like that, then suddenly their towers are going to drop, because Funzy has maxed out wards. The Lycan doesn't have any Howl yet, but that is shortly coming, so the towers already in the mid lane, they're taking some pretty heavy damage.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of that was when the Tidehunter left the lane, but now with those maxed out Plague Wards, the Venomancer is able to keep the lane equilibrium under the tower pretty much constantly. They'll feed a little bit more gold towards the Tidehunter, but not a lot. Currently, the Lycanthrope as well as the Beastmaster have been farming up some Ancients together, getting a little bit of extra gold for both of them. But now with the Roar, as well as the split available for Denial, I expect them to make some sort of rotation to look for kills.
Blink Dagger status on the Brewmaster, still not too far away from that one. It's only about 800 gold. Until he picks up that item, that's really a huge turning point for Denial, as they will be just trying to look for fights left and right. I'm assuming Beastmaster is going to be going for either Blink or Aghanims, kind of similar in how they behave, just helping you gank, so that is also going to be a long way coming, but these are items, along with the Vlads on the Lycan and eventually the Necro Book on the hero, that are just going to help compound their pushing power. Whereas for Album Sheet, the Slark has actually gone for drums after Power Treads. I mean, he knows that he's going to be forced to fight early, but I don't know if this is the right way to deal with this, because right now the drums are literally doing nothing for him as he just AFK farms.
Yeah, I think even going for a Midas on the Slark would be decent, and if you're not going to go for the Midas, I think Blink Dagger is just such a good item on Slark to be passing up for drums, which is a nice item to have on your team. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a non-committal item, and I think the other items would have more impact, either by angling towards the late game, getting the larger items up faster, or by just giving you some initiation power, which right now they're lacking.
Yeah, I mean, if you have this much of a free time in lane, then I think not going for Midas is probably a mistake. Generally, I don't like it when Slarks get Midas, but if they are having an absolute free farm Slark, like literally no one in his lane, then I mean, you might as well get an item that helps you just farm a little bit more. And by the time the push from Denial actually does come, The Midas is going to obviously not pay for itself, but you'll have another item in the form of something, whether that's a Blink Dagger, upgraded boots, or hell, maybe even get the drum afterwards in order to help out. So it is going to be Slark right now just sitting on a whole bunch of net worth that's not exactly helping him, but Denial, they're not really making any huge pushing efforts just yet, and Paris has actually only used the Roar once. I thought he would have tried to smoke up a little more aggressively and look for these pickoffs, but it seems like Denial are okay with just getting a little more experience. Maybe the Blink Dagger is going to be what triggers them off. Dural in the bottom lane picked up his.
Right now, there's not a clear opening on anybody. The Slark, however, up in top, he's going to get off the Purge. They do have a Roar, but aren't going to commit it. The Scarth Mage is close, but no level 6 for him. Aloha Dance is going to be completely safe. Brewmaster is still sitting down bottom, shows the Blink Dagger off in lane, and still passive play coming out from both sides. AlbumSheet are currently clumped up very heavily in the mid lane, everybody except for the Slark.
So if this game does progress exactly like this, and it drags on to 40-ish minutes, who do you think is going to have an edge there?
I would say Denial. We have a smoke coming out from AlbumSheet. It's popped in mid. They get the Ignite onto Funzy, but I don't think they have enough ways to jump onto him, especially with the Plague Words just constantly applying that slow. There's going to be Gale Shot. Doesn't land onto the Ogre, but the Poison Sting still going to be laying into him. I'd say the Denial are favored. I like their chances a little bit better with the Lycanthrope. I think he'd scale better than the Slark. And as far as initiation is concerned, the Tidehunter Ravage, although it's really nice to catch out a lot of targets, I think just the precision initiation coming out from the Beastmaster is going to prove a little bit more useful for them.
Yeah, I think I'm on board. I mean, AlbumSheet, they have strong late game for sure. I mean, they have a Ravage, they have a Razor and a Slark, and hell, even Ogre Magi with Aghanims or Witch Doctor with Aghanims can pretty much demolish an entire team just by themselves. But Denial, they have so many tools in order to deal with that one that I think, even though AlbumSheet have a pretty good late game, it's probably going to be like 60-40 or something Denial, but it does seem like we're just not going to be seeing any of that. There hasn't been a single split used, I don't believe, from the Brewmaster, and well, they went for a bottom lane push, but you can't just really go for pushes like that, especially against a Razor with Plasma Fields. Your creep wave is not going to survive.
Yeah, and for now, it's just incredibly passive plays. Slark is continuing to farm away, currently sitting on 1,500 gold, presumably towards a Blink Dagger of his own. Yeah, but neither team really has made any huge moves. It's not going to be a Blink Dagger for the Tidehunter, instead going for the Mechanism for his team. I am not a huge fan of this choice coming out from Chomi, but they will have the Blink on the Slark, and Ravage is still large enough AoE to where you're still able to get it off, and out of their heroes, he has the better mana pool for dealing with that Mechanism than the Razor. Going to be Galled up in mid as I lag out of the server.
Okay, Chomi's going to get hit with the ultimate from the Brewmaster, still burning down because of the Nova as well. He gets mech'd up, which just got delivered. That might buy him enough time to survive. In the meantime, Funzy and Paris are going to be roaring No Fear. The tower's going to be fortified, and now Death Ward is going to be instantly canceled by Sunlight, however. They're going to be focusing on to No Fear, taking so many dots, and he's going to be the first one to fall. Now Dural, back in his main Brewmaster form, is going to kill off the Witch Doctor. Chomi, still alive because of that very perfectly timed mech, is going to walk away, but unfortunately, the Cyclone control from Dural completely locked him out of that fight, so there was no possibility for a Ravage. I don't think he would have used it anyway against just Brewlings, but Denial, they take 2 kills, they take the tower as well, and they show up the usage of the Brewmaster ultimate and the Beastmaster ultimate after a long pause, so it's going to be a nice little win there for Denial. The bottom lane tier 1 tower also dropped. I think that was, yeah, just destroyed by the Radiant, or Scarith Mage, or something like that, so yeah, tower, 2 towers now being taken in favor of Denial, and well, AlbumSheet, they don't really get anything. If you're going to be gearing like this for Slark, you need to be joining those fights. Again, otherwise you're just not doing anything for your team, so Aloha Dance, I think he has to try to get something up, but wow, oh my god. That's a 14-15 minute Aghanims on the Venomancer. That is an absurdly timed item.
Definitely. It is a completely rushed Aghanim Scepter. He didn't go for the boots upgrade, and this is pretty par for the course if you are getting good farm in lane, but it is a very fast item for him. Just based on the normal hero, it's a silence going the way of Chomi, but they're not going to be able to lock him down enough. He's still able to get off the Ravage should he want to, but Dural as well as Crozier are going to be able to make enough distance between them and the enemy team in order to make that not look feasible. Still waiting on the ultimate cooldown coming out from the Brewmaster, but the Beastmaster Roar is available. But it's AlbumSheet to start pushing down in the bottom lane. They have all 5 heroes here. The Glyph is going to delay this, but with the current way that things are positioned, they might be able to get away with it. Let's see how Denial, or if Denial, are going to contest this.
Well, Denial have a good amount of counter push just by threat alone with the Blink Brewmaster or Blink Beastmaster. Chomi's Ravage is really everything that AlbumSheet are relying upon right now because their pushing power isn't that high. Like, they have the mech, they have the sustain in order to just slowly hit these towers, but I think if Denial actually want to fight this, with the Brewmaster split, they definitely can. Joral is now arriving, and AlbumSheet, this push would be so much easier if they had someone like a Jakiro or literally anyone else with some sort of pushing skill. An Aghanim Scepter on Razor would be crazy, but that's just not the case right now. And now Denial, they're going to look to turn things around. Joral's going to get fire blasted, and he will get ravaged before he gets split. Can they burst him down? It looks like they will. No split for this fight. Now Funzy going to get linked up. I don't think this Venomancer is tanky enough to survive. Has already used his ultimate, and that's going to be Afterlife peeling away instead. Aloha Dance is going to jump forward for this Venomancer in the Shadow Dance form. He will take that kill. That's going to be 2 for 0 so far. AlbumSheet still dropping low because of that Venomancer ulti. But now Brewmaster's actually going to buy back. He wants back into this, but is there anyone he could actually get? They're going to try to go for Aloha Dance, but he has Pounce, and he has a Shadow Blade and Drums. You're never going to catch this fish, so it's going to be a wasted buyback for Joral. I think the only good thing out of that happened for Denial is that fucking Mad was up top pushing the entire time, but that lockdown in the Brewmaster, that's exactly what AlbumSheet need to do if they want to take these fights.
Yeah, it was pretty much perfect lockdown, but at the end of that, it is going to be a tower trade that's in favor of Denial, as they don't come away with the tier 2 tower despite the team fight being a win. We're onto Aloha Dance as well. Scarlet Mage, Mystic Flare, silenced up, can't get anything off, and the damage is there. Beastmaster gets the last hit onto the Slark, and just like that, I think the trade is in the favor of Denial.
Yeah, mostly just because Lycan is untouched, and now he has a Necro book. It should be, it's only level 1 right now, but it will very soon be a level 2 book, so Denial, they're pretty much staying the course right now. They have other tier 2 towers to take, and if AlbumSheet decide to commit kind of randomly, I think, like, there was no reason for them to commit that heavily to a tower there, then, I mean, it'll just be Lycan split pushing more and more, and as far as heroes that can deal with that from AlbumSheet, Razor and Slark, pretty much it. If you send anyone else just by themselves, they'll die. Hell, even if you send, like, Lycan and, not Lycan, Ogre and Witch Doctor, they probably can't get anything done either, so this Lycan is going to be pretty much just a wrecking ball right now. Level 2 book plus Vlad's. No upgraded boots, but he doesn't even need that. He just could push without it.
Yeah, definitely. The net worth advantage going the way of Denial is currently at about 3,000. Then you also have an experience advantage towards AlbumSheet that's about 1,000. But still, just by the nature of their heroes and where the farm's distributed, Denial look fairly comfortable in this game, and they're going to have their ultimates available yet again. Still waiting on the roar for 5 seconds, but they have the split. They weren't able to use that to great effect in the fight, if at all. And currently, Denial, they should be pretty comfortable with what they're getting off of this map. However, even with a very large advantage in the towers, their gold advantage is fairly slim. So if AlbumSheet are able to take a fight, transitioning that into a net worth advantage for themselves will be fairly easy.
Alright, so I want to see right now for AlbumSheet this Slark just going hunting 24/7. That's what you have to do when you go for this type of item build. Power Tread's Drums, I would say, yeah, you probably have to go look for kills. If you invest into a Shadow Blade, then if you're just going to be farming the lanes and split pushing, I mean, Slark, I guess, can do it, but he's certainly no Nature's Prophet. If you're going to be split pushing with a hero, you're probably better off picking someone else. And, well, now they're going to smoke up and look for that pick-off opportunity. This Slark should be leading the way. Afterlife doesn't have that much mana, however. They are going to be running into a Beastmaster with a Roar and a Skyroth Mage with a Flare. So if Aloha Dance is spotted out, which he right now is not, though there is a gem, well, he's going to look to jump forward fucking mad, but he does get the shapeshift off, and he's going to turn around and annihilate that Slark. Mystic Flare is going to drop only onto Sunlight, which will not kill him off, but it will bring him very low. Now, multicast on the Paris, so they try to turn things around on the Beastmaster. He will be brought down by the Plasma Field, fucking mad. Thinking about turning into this fight, but he's not going to commit. Venomancer ultimate is engaged, but it will not land on anyone. Afterlife going to try to TP himself out. He will stick the landing. No Fear is going to be left behind, and he will be going down. That's going to only be a 1-for-1. I thought Denial with that positioning had such a huge advantage in that fight, but they just couldn't get the final blows on anyone. They might get the Witch Doctor, making it a 2-for-1, but still, I mean, Denial, they had the complete jump on AlbumSheet. Even though AlbumSheet thought they had the jump on Denial, that could have been so much better for Denial.
However, that is a gem trading hands back into the favor of Denial. It was originally purchased by Paris, but then lost towards AlbumSheet. But now with the recovery of that, it's going to be a trade that favors Denial. However, in mid, Slark going to get the jump on Effing Mad. Leash does latch, and now Effing Mad is just going to be soloed straight up by Aloha Dance. One more auto attack is all that he's going to need, and the creep wave will be cleaned up before Aloha Dance takes too much damage. Slark, he's gone for a very aggressive build, and now it's starting to pick up. as long as he's able to keep up this aggression, I think it's an okay choice for this game. But we'll see if he's able to continuously get those pickoffs. Blink Dagger now purchased by the Tidehunter.
Well, he's at full mana, full health, but he's going to once again be running into a Beastmaster Scarith Mage combo. This time they don't have a Roar, so Aloha Dance is going to survive, but a Roar actually just came back online for Paris, so that could have been very dangerous for the Slark, but he's going to survive this time. With the Hawk and the Gem on the Scarith Mage, or is it on the Beastmaster again? It is. They will have pretty much complete True Sight vision, and Aloha Dance, though he does have Shadow Dance, is going to be reliant on his Shadow Blade in order to get these kills. He's going to run straight into Joral, who probably is tanky enough to survive this Slark, and they're going to turn around and fight each other. Although Aloha Dance, they're not going to do it. They're just going to pass. That's fine. There is 2 books coming up for Denial. There's no book yet on Beastmaster, though he is very close. Level 3 now on the Lycan, so 3 total levels of books, and it looks like Denial are going to be grouping up in mid for a push.
It seems that way. Razor does have his Aghanim Scepter as well completed. Not sure if we talked about that, but the smoke coming out from Denial, they're going to look for something, and that's something that they might find is 3 heroes of AlbumSheet in the mid lane. Joral does have the Blink Dagger, isn't going to use it yet. Fire Blast on the way of Joral. They don't have any further way to lock him down. That's not going to be successful. On the backlines, they find Slark. They're going to roar. Mystic Flare as well is going to secure the end of Aloha Dance's life, and now No Fear is going to be munched down by wolves as well as Necrobooks. No Fear is going to survive throughout this, but effing mad, he's on the backlines now, won't be able to pursue any of these kills, but the tier 2 tower is almost certainly going to fall in the favor of Denial. Multicast on these Necrobooks, they are going to be able to kill those off, but still, it's just running interference for them. Denial are going to focus on the objective.
And even if they don't get the tower, they picked off the Slark, which is probably the best hero that you could ask for, or you could ask to run into if you're Denial. I mean, right now, they are still going to put more damage into tower just because they can. They have the Vlads, they have the Plague Wards and everything like that, and as long as they keep tabs on Chomi, they'll be fine. They are going to get both the Slark kill and the tower. In the meantime, actually, tower destruction on the bottom lane, so Denial actually don't get this one for free. I think they probably could have gotten away with the Slark kill, the tower kill, and the tower defense, but now they fully commit to the tower offensively, and they get paid off for it, though it's going to be at somewhat of a cost. They are probably not going to be able to go for anything else, though they do have pretty much all of their ultimates by the time they need them, so this is pretty much the time for Denial to just non-stop push.
Pretty much. The tower down in bottom was at about 200 health, so it was going to fall eventually, but I do think that they could have defended it. Still, Denial are very comfortable in this game. They now have a Blink Dagger on the Venomancer. Being able to get off that level 2 ulti with Aghanims onto a lot of people inside the team fights could be huge. I don't know, just that tick damage almost straight up kills the Witch Doctor if it's lethal, which it isn't. But if you also get the Poison Sting and just any other collateral damage, it's really annoying for them to deal with, and nobody on their team is even thinking about building a pipe up until now.
And they really need it. The mech on the Tidehunter is going to have to do all the heavy lifting there, but even though mech is pretty good, it's not Aghanim Scepter, Venomancer good. Speaking of Aghanim Scepter, we also see one on the Witch Doctor. This is actually a very quick Aghanim Scepter from him as well. He's gone for no intermediate items at all, so like not even a boots upgrade. So it is going to be a level 9 Witch Doctor with a level 1 Aghanim Death Ward. It's not the most threatening thing in the world, but once you get to level 2, then it really starts to hit its stride. If you could somehow survive a fight and get to level 2, or get to level 11 rather, then this Aghanim Scepter is going to be doing so much work, but I don't know, is he going to be doing more work than the Venomancer Aghanims? I guess that just remains to be seen. They need to combo with Ravage in order for that to happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It does depend a lot on Ichomi, and up until now, his Ravages have been fairly subpar. I don't think we've seen more than 2, and the ones we have seen really haven't done much except for just get solo pickoffs. They're able to snag a kill onto one of the birds coming out from the Brewmaster or Beastmaster, which is kind of nice for them. But both teams are going to be content just passively farming. I'm not sure what Denial are really waiting for. Maybe if they're able to find a pickoff, which it looks like that is going to be the choice. They smoke up after Lycan clears that camp, and we could be seeing a fairly large engagement. 3 heroes in mid from AlbumSheet without their Slark and the Razor, and they might be the ones to fall. Let's see how this is going to break down. They start things off with the Hawk looking for a little bit of scouting. No Fear as well as Sunlight and Chomi are going to be able to make it towards the left of the map, and it looks like they're going to survive. Nobody's going to get caught out yet. Yeah, AlbumSheet know exactly where Denial are.
And with a courier flying behind them, it's a little bit clearer now. The courier might actually be running into a little bit of trouble, but AlbumSheet, they're still on the run. They're going to try to set up a trap. Chomi in the perfect position, and it's going to be a jump forward for a Ravage. Going to connect onto pretty much everyone. Is Doral. Can he get the split off? He will this time. Then it will be Aurora to No Fear, bring him down instantly. The Witch Doctor ultimate didn't last for very long, and Aloha Dan, still in the middle of everything, will be brought down just by right clicks alone. In the meantime, the Brewmaster is going to chase after Afterlife, and Chomi's going to try to TP away. Cyclone, not quite there, but it doesn't really matter because Afterlife is guaranteed to fall. Concussive shot. No, it's going to be something else that killed him. Lycan got the kill. That's a 4 for 0. I thought for sure with that tied under positioning, AlbumSheet were going to be sure to take that, but I guess they focused a little bit too much on the Brewmaster and didn't get anything, or something like that happened. I mean, Denial, they don't have any BKBs or anything. They were all hit with a Ravage, and still AlbumSheet lose that fight.
Yeah, the Ravage was nice, but the Witch Doctor wasn't in position to follow up for that Ravage. He was on the outskirts of the fight, and the only one in range of that Death Ward was the Brewmaster, and Brewmaster was able to get off the split, and then they focused on the Witch Doctor very easily. Everybody falls pretty low on Denial, but they just didn't have enough focus bars. Slark also really didn't do that much in the team fight. It just wasn't very cohesive. Although it's a nice Ravage from Chomi, they needed that follow-up, and they just weren't able to find it. Denial, since they have a Lycan on their side, are going to be able to take this Roshan fairly easily. Although they're not going to transition this to a high ground push directly, the tier 2 tower in bottom should be their next objective to take.
Well, they're going to play this safe. AlbumSheet, they're all alive, and Denial, they think that AlbumSheet are coming for them, but that's, of course, not the case. So Roshan is going to survive a little bit longer for now, but the impacts of that fight, I mean, Beastmaster should have a level 2 book. Actually, no, he just got level 1 delivered, so book not quite there on the Beastmaster, but is that even necessary? We have a lot of gold on everyone else. Gareth Mage is almost at his 4th staff, which I'm assuming he's going to go for. 1,400 gold in the Venomancer. It's a pretty nice fight win for Denial, though AlbumSheet, they still getting their gold as well. I just feel like AlbumSheet's items aren't doing anything. Like, the mech is certainly tangible there, but the Razor, Aghanim Scepter, almost BKB, did that actually do anything in that fight? I don't think it did. And Aloha Dance's Shadow Blade certainly didn't have much of an impact at all.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much their biggest issue. Right now on top, we do have the ultimates available for Paris, as well as the Brewmaster. He's going to jump in for the split after the Brewmaster. Roy's command on the Afterlife. With the Mystic Flare, Afterlife is going to be sent there himself, and now they are able to get off the Witch Doctor as well. Denial commit 2 ultimates, come away with 2 kills. Fairly straightforward there. In the meantime, it's going to be Lycan pushing down bottom. He has the Aegis. They're not going to give it to Ravage. Show me going to be cancel casting out, but the Fire Blast lands. Ravage now onto effing Mad Dude. They have the damage to lock him down. That's going to be the Aegis away. And without an ultimate, Lycan might be in a little bit of trouble coming back after this. Let's see if they're going to be able to kill him the second time. Looking for the pounce. Fire Blast lands. Now the pounce is going to be perfectly comboed, and effing Mad is going to be effing dead. Caught out in the bottom lane, pushing a little too aggressively, feeling that he couldn't die with that Aegis. He was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, losing your Lycan there, obviously not a good thing to happen for Denial, but it's also not the worst. I mean, they got a couple of kills on the top lane, like getting a Razor in exchange for the Lycan, overall, in and of itself, is a pretty even trade for Denial. Yeah, they lost the Aegis as well, but they also took someone else down on the top lane, so, you know, just trades here and there. And Lycan, once he has BKB, should be able to just walk right out of that, as it was all the stunning action that really held him up. So overall, it's not the most terrible situation for Denial, but they have to make sure to not give that up too many times. That's the first time that has actually happened to the Lycan, so I don't really think that's going to be a huge concern for Denial, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a setback, but not for very long. I mean, they did pull out the Ravage out of that, and if they could make a play on the bottom lane tier 2 within the next minute, then they could definitely make a good trade off of this Lycan death.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's going to be their next choice. As soon as Lycan throws back in the game, which he is, he's going to TP close, and then they'll push down this bottom lane. Put a little bit of pressure on the mid while they're at it, but they still have about 60 seconds where Ravage is down for the Tidehunter. And without Ravage, AlbumSheet taking a fight is a lot harder than it could be, especially since they're going to have a window where Brewmaster has his ulti and Tidehunter doesn't.
And that's going to be the name of the game. Push and hope to get under the timings right now. They will have 5 levels of Necrobook flying out to them, so this push is going to be absolutely devastating, and I don't think there's any way AlbumSheet can hold this tier 2 tower. Is it healthy at all? It's decently healthy, but yeah, it's not going to be survivable enough. The question is, do Denial go for anything else and try to really abuse this Tidehunter cooldown? Because with the speed at which they're taking this tower, they could definitely try for high ground right now.
It looks like they might attempt it. 20 seconds till Tidehunter Ravage is available. The TPs back from the Ogre and the Witch Doctor aren't going to be enough to stop this push. They need to get everybody back into their base almost immediately, as this tier 3 tower is going to fall in heartbeat. The TPs come back, as does the Glyph, and this might be enough to force Denial back, at least for now. Ugh, everybody's in position, and I think Denial should get out of here. But I think Matt's going to stay otherwise. He pops the ultimate, jumps in. They're going to focus down Chomi first. The split comes out, and the Brewmaster ultimate onto Aloha Dance. But Scarlet Mage Mystic Flare isn't going to meet up with the Witch Doctor ultimate bouncing through. It's going to be a lot of damage towards Denial, and the Beastmaster is the first one to lose his life. Ravage now committed onto Funzy, as well as the Brewlings. Not going to land on the Brewlings, but they are able to kill off this Venomancer. Brewlings are falling pretty quickly, but the Brewmaster is going to be able to make it out with the Earth Brewling. Scarlet Mage not so lucky, as he's cleaned up by Aloha Dance in the back lines.
That was a very ambitious fight from Denial. I mean, getting the split is usually a pretty good sign on getting it out uninterrupted, but it was only on a Tidehunter, and you can't really kill off a Tidehunter if you're Brewmaster. It's just not going to happen at this stage. Now is when you see the impacts of the items of AlbumSheet. They had a BKB Aghanim Scepter on Razor sitting on the front lines, literally running around without any sort of response. I did not see the Death Ward there. I don't think it was channeled for very long, but Slark and Razor really just made that fight for AlbumSheet. They just ran straight up to the front lines, locked down and annihilated the Beastmaster. And once he's offline, no axes, no additional attack speed from the Aura, and AlbumSheet just come away with that fight fairly easily. Now they have a Refresh Orb on the Tidehunter. Jarl's going to jump forward in the mid lane. BKB now up on fucking Mad. He will make quick work of Afterlife, then turn his sights to Sunlight. This is going to be a 2-kill for Denial, and well, even though the last fight didn't go the best, getting these couple of pickoffs certainly going to be useful, especially if they get a third. Aloha Dance in a Shadow Dance TP that is almost a guaranteed escape every single time. In this game it is, but Denial, they take 2 kills and they have a Roar. They'll have a split in 30. Maybe they're going to go for the bottom lane again, slide over there from mid.
Yeah, that's a decent choice by them. This time they're not going to be working up against Ravage. 30 seconds with no Razor. Maybe they'll be able to force out the buyback for him if AlbumSheet really want to defend up against this. But with the Necrobooks, both of them on the ground, as well as the Howl, this tower is going to be shredded apart. Doesn't last for longer than 5 seconds. And now into the barracks they're going to go. Razor forced to buy back once again this fight fast enough. But the melee barracks is already gone. Denial can just leave their Necro army, and that's going to be it. Multicast on a couple of illusions, as is the Necrobooks, but it actually doesn't matter. Denial make a clean escape.
Man, Howl and then illusions from the Lycanthrope. I guess he just found a rune or something before, but he had illusions. He had a whole giant Necrobook army, and that was like literally zero commitment from Denial. They could have just sent their Necrobooks in just by themselves, send the pig in and use Howl. And AlbumSheet, unless they actually use a Ravage to clear that out, there's no way that they have a AoE stunning all of those creeps, and doing AoE damage to them through Plasma Field, through Ignite, just isn't good enough just because they're doing so much damage and they're so tanky. So this is an absolutely devastating amount of push from Denial, and the scary thing is that if they actually fully committed to that, if they use the Lycanthrope Shapeshift, BKB, if they set up a huge nest of Plague Wards, then that tower could have gone down even faster, and that's hard to even fathom.
Yeah, right now AlbumSheet, their wave clear is pretty much the Razor's Plasma Field, that's about it. Ignite as well, but that's not fast enough in order to take out that huge creep army. And those creeps are pretty darn tanky with level 3 Necrobook, and the Wolves just with their regen and what have you. It's going to be a clean barracks going the way of Denial, and there's not a whole lot stopping them from doing that again, as long as they find an opening where Tidehunter Ravage isn't there, or it's blown on a few too many heroes, or if those heroes have buyback, and Denial are just able to buy back and then TP in and push. Right now it's AlbumSheet looking to make an aggressive move, smoking up with 3 heroes and the Slark as well as Razor in mid, trying to make something happen with their ultimate cooldowns that are available. Right now Denial aren't clumped up. Maybe they'll be able to find the likes of CryoJ or the Beastmaster, but for now it doesn't look like they're going to find anything. If the smoke pops, there is a Hawk that's spotting them out, but it's going to fly by without anything happening. No fear. It's going to be spotted out by Jral, and now the jump. Denial, they're going to get a 3-man clap. The split doesn't come out immediately. It's stunned up. The multicast comes through, but he's able to get the split off and now focus down No Fear. The Venomancer ultimate is going to land onto the Slark. The ultimate #1 coming out from the Tidehunter, as well as the Death Ward is being channeled, but the Death Ward's a little too far away. The double Ravage is going to be nice for killing off the Venomancer, but now with the BKB, effing Mad's going to be able to munch down Chomi to fall, and now we're looking towards Aloha Dance. It's going to be a 2 for 2, and now 2 for 3 as Tidehunter loses his life as well as Ravage and the Death Ward being committed. It's going to be a big win for Denial.
And Afterlife, I think he will be able to escape, but yeah, the Razor came in from the back end with the BKB and Aghanim Scepter, did a ton of damage to the BM. as well, or the Beastmaster, there's two BMs. The Beastmaster as well as the Venomancer were demolished by that Razor, but it just wasn't enough because everyone else in the backlines with the Lycan and the Brewmaster, there was no response there. Sunlight is going to get silenced up, and he's going to get hazed and chased down. There's also a random gem straight to the north, and I think Cryo sees it. So this is going to be another kill for Denial. Takes a little bit longer than I thought, but in the meantime, fucking Mad straight back to the mid lane just to finish off the range Raxes. Pretty easily will take that one down, but there's no other way of saying it other than Denial come away with a huge fight. Unfortunately, they use pretty much all their ultimates and all their Necrobook cooldowns, so there's no real objective in sight for them. Roshan not going to be up for about another minute, so it's kind of poor timing as far as that is concerned, but hey, Ravage is down, and they have shown that they could go for a push with Ravage on cooldown for just another 20 seconds, so if it's down for another minute, or, 70 seconds, then it looks like bottom lane is going to be the objective. Everyone from Denial is heading down there, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't go for this push except for low mana on Skywrath Mage, and who cares about that?
Yeah, I think Cryo can probably just make his way back towards the base, maybe offer in silence, but it doesn't really matter. They have the Brewmaster split as well as the Beastmaster Roar available, BKB as well as cooldowns on their Necrobooks, and now an Assault Cuirass completed on the Brewmaster. There's really nothing stopping them at all. They'll march up to the front door of AlbumSheet. Still 37 seconds with no Tidehunter Ravage. If they pop the Necrobook army and commit fully to this tower, it's not going to be long for this world. Ultimate pop by the Lycanthrope. Jump in the Anchor Smash is going to be annoying, but now Chomi's going to be worked on by effing Mad. He's going to change targets to no fear. Chomi's still surviving as the Witch Doctor ultimate is being channeled, but not for long. It's going to be the Slark to fall in the backlines. The Basher coming out from the Lycanthrope, and now the melee barracks is going to be soon to fall. As Afterlife, he's boulder tossed up. The Witch Doctor going to fall pretty much just to the Ruling Army as well as a couple of Necrobooks. Aloha Dance joins this fight again, kills the Necro Warrior, and now Jural is going to be man-fighting up against him, going to be able to kite away Aloha Dance as he's not able to purge off that Venomancer slow, and the melee barracks and range barracks are both going to fall in the favor of Denial, and they should be able to make a clean retreat, and GG well played. Coming up from AlbumSheet, not too surprising after the two-lane advantage going the way of Denial.
Man, that pushing from Denial. I mean, with the Venomancer and the Beastmaster pickup, you kind of are going to be expecting them to be pushing, but not like that. I think the Lycan was just the final nail in the draft coffin. Like, as long as AlbumSheet weren't taking the fights 5-0 in their favor, then the push was going to happen from Denial one way or another, and wow, what a push it was. So we're going to move on to game number 2, guys. Denial are up 1-0 in this best of 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys stick around for the next game, which should be up shortly. Stay tuned for that one. GG.